All right, it looks like we're live.
Alrighty.
No, me. Mm. Let's give it a second.
I'm pulling up the Twitch to make sure it's all set up.
Set up. The razzle dazzle.
Hey, one of my homies is playing Binding of Isaac.
Wait, did something else come? Are we getting another story? Oh yeah, Jedi Survivor's coming out.
Yep.
Um,
That's the other Cal Kestis one, right?
yeah.
Yeah. There was a there's like a bunch of customization options. They had like a little joint of it, like a little video that popped up on Reddit the other day.
I just feel like I hadn't heard a lot on it. I've been hearing a lot, everything on Zelda, but.
I'm trying to avoid a lot of the news because I'm just like I don't want to get spoiled on stuff because like you know how they are with trailers. It's like they'll show you the best part of everything, and it's like the marketing teams don't know how to hype stuff out without like absolutely spoiling everything. Like we've talked about it before. They do the same thing with movies, where it's like, oh man, you put the plot twist for the movie in the trailer.
Yeah, I actually am trying to like go back. I want to make a video where I chart movie trailers over time and just be like, this has never not been a problem. Like I was like rewatching the old Ghostbusters trailer. I was like, wow. Just wow.
You just spoiled the whole movie. Like how you gonna let them know that ghosts are real in the trailer?
There was another one. There's a little micro theater down the road from me, and it they'll show a bunch of old movies, and I forget Walter Matthew. He's the guy from the Grumpy Old Men movie, and he's in this movie where he's gonna kill a woman just to get her inheritance, like from her like family and stuff, and like you kind of already understood that premise, and then they show you him getting away with it. In the trailer, and I'm like, what? I guess because it was also a comedy, they were expecting that like you don't really care about the plot on this one, so it's fine if we show it. But I don't
know. It's just like a motivation to not watch trailers for stuff. Like sometimes I'll risk it, and like there's certain stuff I'm like, oh man, like the one like we're going to talk about Blue Beetle. I was like, I watched the Blue Beetle trailer, and I was like, okay, cool, this looks good. This looks good. I don't get excited for stuff, but it looks good.
All right, what's up, everyone? It's Commander Ship.
Hey, everybody.
Imminent Doom X. You're coming to you on a Monday night instead of Friday to do some State and Nerd. Almost like the old days. Almost like we were back on Mondays.
Monday.
Genosha. Battle Arena.
I just monster trucks.
So the State and Nerd Union for the week of April 10th. And it's been pretty good. If you're a nerd, the last couple of weeks been pretty awesome. Getting ready to get some more awesome weeks of game releases and stuff. So it's going to be really solid. I hope I'm not offending Chris Pratt haters, but you're probably stuck with him as the voice of Mario going forward because it made $375 million worldwide in its opening weekend.
Pop.
Like, regardless
Mamma
of
mia.
the reviews.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, without you know what? And to their credit, though, they play it a little bit, and I think, regardless of if Pratt should have been the one cast, I think it was smart not to do that accent for a whole movie. Just putting it like when you hear it in the movie a little bit, you're like, it's not about who delivers it. It's just that's not Italian. I mean, we might love Mario and stuff like that, but that's not there's just so many. Yeah, I actually think it's a good decision.
I agree. I mean, like, it would be what would be. I mean, I don't think I really need to make a comparison. Is it was a thing. It was a thing we did in video games, damn near 30 years ago, and that was it wasn't okay back then, but there wasn't anybody challenging it.
Right.
But we know better now, so we don't need to do
that. It's almost like Jared Leto had an Italian accent in House of Gucci, and I thought every time I watched him, I kept waiting for Al Pacino to just slap the shit out of him. I'm like, how did this not happen on set? How is no one like upset at what he's doing right now? Everybody thought this was good. Really? Everyone was just okay with this. So, bravo, Illumination. It is done so well that stocks of the theater chains around the U.S., around North America, have all experienced bumps in their stock price.
Hey, nice.
Not that we really care about stock price. GameStop stonks. But that is at least a good sign for like theaters that have been struggling for. So it's not just chains, but we probably are seeing a bump also in the smaller theaters as well that wouldn't be included in that chain data because they're not publicly listed. So, this is really good. I mean, regardless if you want another Mario movie or not, this is still really good news for movie theaters going forward. I'll be honest, I was shocked because if you just looked at how people talked about it online before the movie came out, it seemed very like, ugh. And
it was people were kind of talking about it like it was pre shaming Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I don't know why that didn't pop up as but that's because we didn't think it was going to be good even after they fixed the CGI because we were like, well, if you messed up his face that bad, there's no way this movie can be good. And then
I can't imagine how bad the movie would have been received if they left it the same. Like they did a tremendous job because like if everything about the movie was the same, like it would have been just so weird and like uncanny valley to have Sonic being portrayed in the way that they had him originally.
Yeah,
like to go through all that effort and for it to pay off big, where like it landed exceptionally well. And I think like for all like the late nights that they had to put in to get it to change, like it not only are we glad that you did it, but like that I'm glad that like it was received well enough by the general populace to get not only a second movie but a third movie.
Yeah, and surprising, very surprising.
So next we're gonna get Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. It's confirmed. No.
Hey, you never know.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, the game, the movie, only to then be followed by a video game version of that game.
Oh man, I love game inception of movies of game inception. Like it's just
like it's Mortal Kombat, not Mortal Kombat. What was it? Street Fighter.
Yeah. Oh, it'll hurt your brain. Oh,
yeah, Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Look it up. It's real. It's real. What? Look it up.
Oh man. Yeah, but I've got my review up on Nerd Union, so if y'all want to read that or check out this mini review on TikTok where I challenge myself to do a review in 1 minute. So I had a blast doing that. So nice. It is harder than you think, and also trying to not just sound like, yep, liked it.
Good movie.
Good movie. That's the only quick bite we got for ourselves. You want to launch us off for the Cinephiles with the Blue Beetle?
Yeah. All right, y'all. So Blue Beetle. The trailer is out. Pro analysis. It doesn't look like they do any like major spoilers unless you don't know anything about Blue Beetle at all, in which case prepare to be spoiled. He's a hero. But yeah, the trailer looks pretty good. I like what they do with the costume. Like, as with every adaptation of a live action superhero, the costume is always like a major point of contention, as far as like how it looks and stuff like that. And I think they did an excellent job. It looks, realistic enough where it's like, yeah, Blue Beetle is a comic book character, and outfits can be what they are, but it looks, reasonable. But yeah, I'm interested enough to peep and check it out and see how it goes. So hopefully it should be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'm kind of on the trailer. It's definitely better than those Shazam trailers, and I hope people don't take this as a dig on Shazam. I love the original Shazam movie, and I actually think Fury of the Gods it's okay. Like, I think it maybe yeah, it's passable. So it's just, but if you had asked me if I wanted to watch those movies just off the trailer, I'm like, no. I think those are terrible. So Blue Beetle is not. I'm gonna put Shazam on the, like, for superhero movie trailers. I'm like, I'm gonna put you on this little island by yourself, Shazam.
Shazam Island.
Shazam Island. I'm gonna act like those trailers didn't happen, and then Blue Beetle is just kind of like, okay. I will say, though, in the next trailer, and I know you won't watch that one because it's definitely probably gonna get the story stuff.
Yeah.
But the Batman is a fascist joke, I'm curious. I don't know where they're gonna go, but gosh, if this movie ends up being a critique on the other heroes,
that'll be pretty fun.
Oh gosh, I hope it's not just one-off joke. If they're actually kind of like,
it's like, yo, you suck.
and you suck.
Trash, double trash. You good? We cool.
Yeah, if they do that, I would really enjoy it. Not that they don't have to. Like, it's an origin story, so it's okay. But, like,
yeah,
I personally like, because for something fresh, that'd be really nice.
Mm-hmm. Let me see what we got next. Jack Black. You want to take that one?
Yeah. This year marks 20 years for School of Rock, which has done extremely well. Even has like has a Broadway musical of School of Rock, and Jack Black has at every opportunity in turn reunited with the old cast members. There is an anniversary special planned, and it sounds like the entire crew is going to be coming back at some point for that. And Black joked when interviewed about it, like, man, they're all in their 30s now. He's like, so I'm feeling a little off about it. Like, Jack's feeling his age a little bit. I mean, Jack Black's still a big kid, and we love him for it. But I'm actually like, I remember seeing that. Well, I guess that would have been like freshman year of high school, 2003. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, right around there. So I really enjoy that movie. It's really solid. Still holds up. I'm just kind of really curious to see what the special entails, especially if they get back together and sing. That would be. I mean, I think you have to, right?
He said in the article, it's like, oh, we're definitely gonna jam. Like, that's 100% happening.
Yeah. Next up, Scott Pilgrim.
Hey, Scott Pilgrim. Let's go.
Yo, this is impressive.
I'm hyped.
I need people to understand. You know how hard it is to like a Marvel movie. If you get people contracted for multiple movies, like they're you get them locked in. That's one thing. When you've done a project, it's been years, and then trying to wrangle everyone back. And now they've all got success. Brie Larson's doing Captain Marvel. Chris Evans was Captain America for a long time. Now he's doing his own his other stuff. We can kind of go down the list of people that are in different pots right now, and to get them all back to voice act for the Scott Pilgrim anime,
that's big. It's been like what, 10, 15 years, something like, probably 15, maybe 13 years, something like that.
We're getting there. If it's not 20.
It's getting up
cool,
there.
right? Let us get on up there.
Yeah, because I remember I was like back in high school when Scott Pilgrim came out. It was like a huge thing. Everybody was into it. But I'm like Scott Pilgrim just had like a dynamite set of people who all happened to be in it, and then like later get really, 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 really big. And then like to be able to get them all back, I'm like, yo, you're doing the Scott Pilgrim anime? Hell yeah, I'm gonna voice them. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, and the thing, I think it helps that a lot of the crew members are nerds.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's like an appreciation. Obviously, I'm not trying to say everyone on that group is, but just from the names and like having seen the interviews and stuff they've done on it, or just interviews in other spaces, I think that probably helps a bit. They're like, we have some fondness and appreciation for this particular property and what it means for folks. I mean, I read the article and was like, really? You got
everybody. It's like fucking Smash Brothers. Like everybody's here. It's like Michael Cera, and it's like what's it called? Chris. I can't remember anybody else's name who plays whatever characters, but they all there. Everybody's there. I don't remember their real names.
Yeah, it's solid. So really excited for that, and yeah, we'll see when it comes out. Hopefully, sounds like Netflix is just going to let it be and not touch or interfere with that. So
good. Don't mess it up.
Don't.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim is one of those things that's like fortunately just like had a really golden run. Like the only thing that was really bad that happened was that the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game got taken off Xbox Live, 15 years ago or however long it was. Where like the movie, like obviously all of Brian Lee O'Malley's books are really good. Like the movie was an excellent representation / like truncation of the graphic novels, and that was exceptional. We love that. The video game slapped, and the soundtrack was really good. And it's like there hasn't been any like major misplays. Like it's like everybody who works with the project seems like, yo, I just love this idea. It's really cool. It's really great, and I'm here for it. So I don't, and because everybody who's working on the anime is the same folks who's working on the movie, or at least the voice actors. Like I don't have any reason to believe that it's about to get bad. Like all signs are pointing to this is going to be great.
It sounds like a slam dunk. So really hoping they'll nail that.
It's like alley-oop around the world. It's heating up.
Oh man.
Oh, but speaking of video games, it is game time.
Game time.
What comes around with game time? Nintendo slapping the mess out of people who dare to have fun playing their video games. I'd actually heard about this one before I had read an article about it, but popular Breath of the Wild speedrunner Eric Point Crow Marino had a bunch of videos demonetized after they released a multiplayer mod to the game, and they showcase it on their channel. Like they have tons and tons and tons and tons of videos of them speedrunning and playing the game, and doing different stuff you can do and different mechanics and blah 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 and all this other fun stuff. And despite the fact that the number of people that this person is likely influenced into getting them to say, you know what, I do want to buy Breath of the Wild, Nintendo is like, oh man, you wanted to make our fun game more fun? No. And they went through and demonetized like a whole bunch of their videos in classic Nintendo fashion. Like as much as we love Nintendo, as much like they are like the least friendly game company. Like they know how to have fun. Like they have fun down to a science. But like they do not know how to share. Like their Nintendo, for as much as I love them, is like the next door neighbor who has like every video game that you want to play, but like won't let you borrow them, and also will never let you be player one. It's like, oh yeah, we can play Breath of the Wild and we can take turns, but I'm always going to go first. And no, you can't use my special edition Legend of Zelda controller. We have to disconnect it so you can connect the one that you have and you can play on that one, and that's how you could take your turn. It's like you can only have fun the way Nintendo says you can have fun.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
my, as much as I love the games and whatever, it's my least favorite thing about them, because like if you want to run a Smash tournament, the hell you do. Like Nintendo will show up and slap the mess out you and tell you no, you can't play online. You
and
need to
then
risk getting COVID
and then
to
that
play in
was
person.
I gotta so and the because you reported on the Smash ones a while back because it's not
Mm-hmm.
just it Nintendo. There's like most of the time it is Nintendo, and that one is like okay, there's someone in particular that's pushing Nintendo direction on that one also because they only want their Smash tournaments to happen. And you're like, you mean
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Smash tournaments? No, this one particular promoter. I forget what their name is.
Um,
Uh,
I know you're talking about, but I can't remember either.
cool. Keep going. My charge. I need my laptop's gonna die.
Rutrow. But yeah, so basically, like they went through and demonetized a bunch of their stuff. They're, as you might imagine, like for a lot of YouTubers, it's like that's the way that they make money. Like, and it's not like you don't stop making money just because like, oh, you put the video up and like people have seen. Like that's a consistent source of revenue where your whole library continues to get funds from ads and so forth because people are still watching your videos. Like I'm sure there's tons of folks who watch stuff as it comes out, but like there's a bunch of people who you might watch it sometime later or you rewatch videos and you're still getting revenue from that. So to have your back catalog be demonetized is equivalent to, if you're an artist like and you post stuff on your website into your portfolio, it's like, somebody comes and just snaps something out of your portfolio from a revenue perspective, or for whatever reason your stuff suddenly became public domain and people were just able to do whatever they wanted with it. Like that would be financially devastating. So, and that's the comparative.
Yeah, and it's like I would almost, even though like this would be even harder for Nintendo doing like, but I would almost rather they just be like, no, we don't want our properties used at all on any streaming. And while that would be harsh to me, for Nintendo's perspective, it'd be a lot clearer because this like
Yeah,
occasional,
this
it's like
arbitrary process of allowing people to have fun and record stuff and to generate money for you until you find it to be inconvenient for no particular reason. Like people modding your fun game to be more fun isn't like isn't a slight against you at all. And I don't really get it. Like if it's like a cultural thing from Nintendo of Japan, where like it's like any modification is seen as a slight against their product, like the product of their art or something, but like it's definitely not because they're not copyright striking everybody. So I was like, I don't understand what the crux of the problem is.
I don't know. It boggles the mind.
It does, because it's like it's not like they're like, for example, Metroid, the what is it, the not the other M, Metroid 2. Like people remade Metroid 2 tons and tons of times. Why? Because it sucks. It's not a fun game. It came out on the Game Boy, not the Game Boy Advance, not the Game Boy, not the DS, the Game Boy, black and white. It is not is the worst way to play a Metroid game. So people have remade it time and time again. And despite the fact that Nintendo had didn't care about Metroid 2, they would always like do a cease and desist. Don't make that. Don't make that. Don't make that. We don't want anybody making a more fun version of a game that we made that's no longer fun, despite the fact we don't have plans to do so. And it was like they would shut down tons of stuff, despite the fact they wouldn't. And then eventually they like decades later released their own Metroid 2 remake after everybody already had fun making their own. And it's like you could have just hired one of the people who already made it and said, "Hey, you really made something great here, and we want to help you make it better and distribute it as our own official product, and we're willing to pay you for it."
And I'll give an anecdote. My first Metroid experience was Metroid 2.
Oh,
And I hated it.
it's so bad.
And I took a flyer on Metroid Prime because I was like,
oh no,
that looks pretty badass. I don't know, but I tried it and I was like,
okay, you did play it.
Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, when it came out, I played it when it because you remember it was one of the early GameCube demos.
Yes,
And
yes, it was.
This
It was I think there was There's not a lot of GameCube demos. There was a couple that were circulated. There was one for Metroid Prime. There was one for Wind Waker, and that also had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on it, and you could play both for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Because Toys R Us connection.
Mm-hmm.
I pre-ordered Wind Waker, and then they gave you the Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. So you could
Fun aside, that there's actually a contemporary speedrun challenge to beat Majora, like on that version of the demo version, to see if you can beat the game within the time limit before it expires, and you can do it. You use a bunch of glitches and other shit. But yeah.
What?
I think you do want to. It's like you do one of those memory rewriting glitches where you do a bunch of stuff to rewrite the memory for certain points, so that when you go through the transition to another area, it teleports you to the end of the Ganon fight. It's like, hey, you did it! You're at the end of the ending cutscene for the game. Good job.
Wait, I had which Metroid wasn't made by Nintendo proper? That's a Retro Studios, because they were like, we don't know what to do with Metroid anymore. Get out of here. Get it.
Yeah, and they knocked it out of the park.
And they keep doing that with Star Fox, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna get started.
Star Fox Assault was fun. It wasn't a good Star Fox game, but it was a fun game. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it wasn't a good Star Fox game, but it was a fun game. My cousins and I had a blast playing it. We played it all the time. Yeah. But yeah, it's for all of the greatness that is Nintendo. It's really a shame that they just don't know how to have fun with other people. They were like, the way to perfect having fun is to make sure that you don't play with others. That's the solution.
Yeah. I bet EA wishes they were them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the sense of could get away with doing that stuff and not have the backlash.
I mean, EA has the benefit for us, detriment to them, of when what was that Battlefront 2 came out, and they had all these loot boxes and microtransactions that fortunately Disney owned the property, and they were able to be and people were like, yo, there's gambling in here, and Disney was like, just what now? And EA was like, but that's how we make money for the game, and it's like, take it out right now. And they're like, but money, and it's like, you have enough, you make $2.1 billion a year from FIFA. Take the loot boxes out of my Star Wars game. And they're like, fine, then I just won't make any more Star Wars games. But now they don't have the license anymore, so we'll get some good Star Wars IPs.
They don't have the license anymore. We could be on a Star Wars renaissance.
Speaking of Star Wars renaissance, let's get to the main topic. No, I'm kidding. We still got some games.
That would have been a great segue.
Mm-hmm. So we'll edit it in post.
I am actually really excited if this is true. So switching from Nintendo over to Sega. House of the Hedgehog. There's been leaks of Jet Set Radio photos that it doesn't look like someone made them themselves. They look like higher res and not just like a remaster. It looks like someone remade graphics of Jet Set Grind on the Dreamcast, which just the Jet Set Radio franchise, and Persona 3. When the Persona 3 one came out a while ago, people lost their minds, but kind of lost in the shuffle was the Jet Set Radio photos that were also circulating as well. But again, Sega hasn't confirmed it. The only other piece of information we have is from Bloomberg News that was talking about potential remakes coming from Sega on these two properties, Sega and Atlas for Persona 3. So if it's true, these are I know the Persona fans will be excited, and that fan base has gotten a lot stronger over the years. So I think there's a really good mark for that. Jet Set, I don't think a lot of people you kind of have to be around.
1 sec, I'll be right back. Somebody apparently rung my doorbell.
Okay.
9:50. Sorry, I'll be right back. Keep going.
How long can keep? While I'm waiting for Steve to, and I'll repeat this when he gets back, is that you kind of had to be like, one, if you even owned a Dreamcast, kudos to you. I did. A lot of people did not. I wish more people got to play that console. But that was really your only opportunity to play Jet Set Radio. And then, or sorry, Jet Set Grind. Gosh, can't keep the titles track. And then on the Xbox when it first came out, and the Dreamcast was going down, and they were bringing in a lot of Sega properties. You got Jet Set Grind Radio. Sorry, no, Jet Set Radio Future. Good Lord, I can't keep track of it. These titles. Everyone calls it Jet Set Radio, which is kind of like the umbrella idea of it. And then the Jet Set Grind and Jet Set Radio Future are the two big ones that everyone knows about. So you sort of had to be in a time and place to know about it. And let's maybe go to this view for a bit until he gets back. All right. I'll take center stage for a bit. Yeah, that's sort of what you kind of had to be in that time frame, like that early 2000s Xbox transition to know that game came out. Eventually, Xbox would put it online. So for Jet Set Grind, you could also play it there. So the music catalog, if you've never played it, is really solid. It's a really full, really cool skating game. And you're painting graffiti around New Tokyo, like really having a blast. So I'm really hoping that this is true. But Sega hasn't said anything. That also doesn't give us any timeline for a release date, so on and so forth. So wish we could tell you it's going to be coming out this year. That'd be great. But we need a confirmation first, and then we'll be able to see what's coming down the pipe. I'm also hoping it's not fake. Please, just don't.
Just let us have Jet Set Radio. I said, just let us have Jet Set Radio.
Just let us have it. Just let us have it. All right. I'm actually trying to see. Let's go to the. I'll stay on Xbox for a second. So more. This is Xbox and Nintendo together. We're hitting everybody except for Sony today. If you played if you played emulators on your Xbox, particularly like your Series X, Series S, this may also extend to the other Xbox One consoles, but right now I'm just confirming for Series X and Series S. You can no longer run emulators on it stock. So you can't just run it on default. And particularly this is said to be for Nintendo ROMs and emulators, although it applies pretty much across the board to any ROM emulator you try to put on your console. So if you've been, and a lot of people have been running the Series S for emulation because it's for the cost of a Series S, especially if you like being a console player, maybe you don't really like using your computer, and just emulating off of it. It's been a really solid emulation machine, and a lot of emulation forums and communities have been talking about that and giving setup guides. So I'm not surprised that that's the reason that it got knocked off.
That's lame.
It is. If you pay, if you switch your Xbox into developer mode, which again you have to pay for, at some point, that this is not the same thing as like the opt-in testing options for testing new products. That's a separate interface for Xbox. This is about developer mode. If you pay for developer mode, you can still access these. How much longer those will be allowed if you're not actively developing something, I don't know. Whether Microsoft could actually determine or tell that, I also am not aware of that either. So take that caveat I said with a grain of salt. Yeah, right now, if you pay for Xbox developer mode, you could technically still emulate these, or you could just go on your PC or homebrew some stuff. So if you're I don't want to say if you're actually in the emulation community, but if you're in those spaces, there's workarounds. So that's all That's all I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
Got any thoughts? You're like in.
Nah, not necessarily. I feel like you nailed it. No, I think my my picture on stream is frozen now.
Oh, you're back. Hold up.
Yes,
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I was like, what's?
I'm back
Oh,
and I'm invisible.
oh, that's perfect. I thought I was gonna like kind of glitch. No, but you like
Damn.
right, snap back.
Hey, it's me, your boy, Steve,
I was
the
like,
ghost of
why am I
Steve.
here? I was like, why am I hearing you and you're not?
It's like, yeah, the person at my door was an assassin, but that's not going to stop me from finishing the show. Oh man.
Oh man. Ready for some check the tech?
Yeah, let's see. Yo. So we got up first. If AirPods have a screen, isn't that just an Apple iPod again, but with headphones? So apparently, Apple put through a patent design for new wireless earbuds that show the addition of a screen that would allow users to simply use the charging case and buds, but without a phone. So that's basically just a iPod. It's back to that. It's
I
like, yo, what
saw.
if you had a screen for your headphones? And I was like, sounds pretty sick.
It's already people are already memeing that when it run around. So I if I can find that user, I'll try to credit them with that joke because I was like, that's too good. Sorry, I'm like,
Yeah.
even when I read it, I was like, isn't that just? And I saw the meme. I was like, yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. We're all on the same page here. As long as I'm not the crazy one for saying it out loud. It's like looks back at my display case of like my like iPhone version 3 or whatever that I got like on discount from like a Walmart or something, like 3 years behind the general populace because it had like 32 gigs of space on it. And it's like, this seems familiar.
I am kind of curious though if it's like an optional case though. So like something that I could see, particularly like, and the one thing that made sense to me was like, all right, if you're active and you're like, you don't want to carry your phone if you like say if you're like running around on like a bicycle,
Just get a Zune. Just get a Zune. It's the same thing.
Why don't we just get an iPad Nano while we're at it and clip it to our sleeve?
At the intersect of the intersect of dweebdom of my phone too big, but want to do thing, and it's like you could just get an armband and put it on it. You could just get like a little shirt with a pouch and you just put it in it. You could already just duct tape your phone to your leg. You have options that are.
I just load. If it's that bad, I just load music to my watch.
Right, there you go. Or you could just go back to 2007 when we had MP3 players and just put something on that. It was easy. My mom has one that's like a little thingy, and you just clip it right onto your shirt. You put some wireless headphones on, you're good to go. It's the same thing. It's 128 gigs. It's more than enough.
It's just wrong.
It's easy.
If you are a Substack user, like we are over at Nerd Union, so if you want to follow our articles, you can do that. But Substack has been really big for journalists. So if you usually have been having great journalistic conversations on Twitter, people roll their eyes at that, but actually there legitimately has been some great news. Like, yeah, I'm not saying there isn't terrible news on Twitter also, as far as like like that is also true. It's like, but there's also been some really cool stuff that comes out of some Twitter conversations. But you know who's running Twitter right now? I don't need to say their name. You know who it is.
The muskiest man on the internet.
So as Twitter seems like it's a ship full of like everyone getting off overboard, people have been running over Substack, and Substack's been adding features with their subscriber base growing, and they added a function called Notes, where an author could add an additional piece of information to start like a thread, very reminiscent of some of the threads you might see over on Twitter. Now it's not like a copy paste job. I don't mean it.
Huh.
Mean it like that. That's not exactly what happened, but it's apparently enough competition for Twitter to block all the APIs from Substack and blocking uses of links. If you try to drop a Substack link in with your Twitter thread, might notice that it didn't allow you to do that.
Yeah, actually, when you try to make the post, you hit submit, and there's a dialogue box that pops up. It's just like, nah, fam.
He's like, nah, but you can sign up for this Twitter Blue, where you may or may not be verified or look the same as other people that have been verified with a blue check mark before Twitter Blue is a thing.
Yep. So you go to get a check mark, and it's like, yo, it's like Commandership, and there's like somebody else already has the name with your profile picture, and there's a blue check mark. You like, yo, hold up.
That's a whole nother. I don't get it. I get it from Twitter's been hemorrhaging money before Musk ever got there. So yeah. I get that part. I understand.
I wouldn't say that they were hemorrhaging money, just necessarily that like it is difficult to turn a profit. Because they weren't blowing money hand over fist. They are now. But they weren't blowing off money hand over fist. But it was that, like, you know, finding, as big as Twitter is, like, it's difficult to find avenues to continue to get bigger when you're like already one of the biggest social media platforms. That's not that quote unquote social media platform in China that is operated by, I think, Tencent or whatever.
Oh, I know. It's not WeChat.
WeChat? Yeah, WeChat. That's it.
Yeah.
It's hard to get bigger when you're not WeChat.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. One thing I was not able to check before recording is if that has been updated. Last I checked this weekend, you still were not able to. It wasn't like a oopsie doodle hit of the thing of the keyboard, like this actual moving forward thing on
What's
Twitter.
comical is like now we could check because Elon exposed all the code to Twitters. You could probably go into GitHub and do a search for like notes.com and see if there's anything that comes up where it's like, yo, if string contains, and it's like notes.com, then remove from post or whatever, or like set the visibility of the post to like -50 so like nobody sees it or something.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend on Twitter, David Chen. I hope he's a really cool movie reviewer. He used to work with the New York Times. He was one of the first people I saw moving over to Substack. So I hope your subscriptions have not been affected, or folks have been trying to join you over on Substack, because it's just But that is all we got for Check the Tech. So we're gonna get
speaking of the opposite of we got new Star Wars information with the main topic.
This is the main topic. So we don't have to tell you how Star Wars has been. You know, everyone's gonna have their own opinions. So for the next couple minutes, keep them to yourself.
But I need everybody to know that based off of a YouTube video that I saw that was very convincing, I'll have you know, Smart Star Wars is trash. Oh man, but nah, man, I'm super excited. One, I've been enjoying, you know, pretty much all the Star Wars content. Like, you know, it's for as someone whose dad watches a lot of negative YouTube videos. I am of the mind that anybody who talks smack about Star Wars, you gonna watch the 15th movie, you gonna watch the 16th movie, and the 17th one, and the 18th one, because you're invested now. You don't watch 10 movies of a series without being like, I don't like this. Like, come on.
You're in too deep.
You're heavily invested. This is your nephew now, and no matter how many times that they ask you for $20, you still gonna give them the $20. Like, it don't, like, quality perceptions of quality aside, and opinions be whatever. I'm having a great time. I'm loving Mandalorian. We're getting more of that. I'm loving Bad Batch. We're getting more of that. Ahsoka's coming out. We're getting more main. What, like it's really hard to say what main Star Wars is anymore, because there's so much auxiliary Star Wars. But we're getting more main numbered Star Wars stories where protagonists, where Rey is going to be rebuilding the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
And for fans who read the books, and for fans who like to pretend they read the books, we can all say, "Oh, they're doing the thing from the books, just like we wanted them to do." But they're going to do it a little bit differently, and we'll be excited or upset about it based on that. But you're still going to give them $20 though. Then there's one other thing there too, Kenny. Do you know what it is?
So I gotta double. It was either it was set around the Old Republic time. I just can't remember.
I don't remember what they called it, but it's Acolyte. Acolyte. I think that's it.
Well, no. Acolyte is the series, but there is a movie. So the 3 movies are. There's going to be one post Mandalorian. There's going to be.
Oh, you're talking about the prime Star Wars ones.
Yes.
Yes.
So like for movies that were announced at D23 is Rey's getting a movie 15 years set after Rise of Skywalker, trying to like
rebuild the Jedi Order,
or like that deal with whatever the remnants of the Jedi Order are now trying to come back together. A post Mandalorian movie. I'm assuming post Ahsoka as well, because that's happening at the same time as Mandalorian. So I'm assuming they meant like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, whatever their like resolution is going into that movie. And then there's one set during the Old Republic. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Old Republic one, because if they can make the Old Republic as good as literally any promotional cutscene for the game, The Old Republic, that shit's gonna be so fresh. It's just gonna print money. Like if you've ever seen the old Knights, the Knights of the Old Republic MMO, see like cinematic like videos, all of them are fire. They're all good. And if they can make like even a moment from, well, I guess like that would the cinematics are also just a moment. They're like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
But if you can make even like a section of the movie as fresh as those cinematics are, if you can give us like those high octane, big energy, like Jedi battle type stuff, because this is Old Republic is when, for folks who don't know, is basically when the Sith and the Jedi had very comparable numbers. What it meant to be a Sith and what it meant to be a Jedi was a little bit different than what the modern perceptions are. But like they had comparable numbers. So the fights are like the Sith don't really engage in as much, silent movement and espionage. This is for folks who don't know, rule of 2 type stuff, where they're like, there are only 2, a master and an apprentice. Like they didn't do all that before. They were just like, nah, we out here. Like they were straight up X-Men gang shit TM. So there's lots more battles and political razzmatazz that we can engage in if they want to go that route. But like for me, I'm looking for spectacle, because that's what those cinematic trailers were, to get you to play the game. And if you can have at least one moment similar to like episode 8, big spectacle, like where you're just like all the air leaves the room, I'm gonna be happy. That's all I want. I don't care if you do necessarily Lord Revan, or if you do stuff that I'm familiar with and it has to be this, that, or the other. I don't care. It could be all new stuff, but as long as we get some cool spectacle and big Jedi versus Sith big fights and good choreography, I'm gonna be set.
Yep. I mean, I like that time period because it really disconnects from a lot of stuff. So that's great. The post Mandalorian Ahsoka show, because Dave Filoni. So James Mangold is director for. He'll be directing the Old Republic one. Start kind of giving you that early Jedi time period. Dave Filoni is going to get to do that middle one, which I think is solid because he's already been helming and pushing how to direction him along with was about to say say his name again. He directed Jon Favreau. As far as like the Mandalorian stuff. So like I think that's a smart choice because he's already
in the pocket.
Space.
He's jamming.
The only one I'm not like here's how I feel about the Rey movie.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish they hadn't messed with her in Rise of Skywalker. That's it. It's not that I'm not like it's another Star Wars movie. To your point, are they gonna get my $20? They're gonna get my $20. It's already. I might as well just go ahead and put it in an interest-bearing account. So maybe I get some money for concessions by the time inflation comes out. So maybe I get this for real. But it's fine. I'm just like, but part of me is just like, man, I wish she could have been on her own thing by the end of that series and kind of really strike on her own in this movie. I feel like there's still going to be some baggage probably tied with Rise of Skywalker, unfortunately. Now maybe that movie can just like, yes, we realize that happened, but it's 15 years later, so we're just gonna
whatever. Doesn't matter.
This is just what we're focused on. This is Rey and 15 years later, and kind of blinders a little bit. That actually might be the way for, at least personally, that can make me feel a lot better. Like, yes, I know she's Palpatine, whatever, but
his evil or good reverse twin cousin.
Gosh. So yeah, I'm hoping they do well. What we don't know, we got a confirmation from Kathleen Kennedy that Taika Waititi is still working on his Star Wars movie. So apparently that's a 4th movie. That's not tied. That's still happening. It's not affecting.
Is that when the Acolyte one?
No. This is Taika is just getting to make his own Star Wars movie. If I had to guess, it's just going to be like some kind of romp through the Star Wars universe. So like whoever,
I hope that it's what I want from Star Wars. If we're at the Super Saiyan bargain bin sale of Star Wars films, what I want is a very serious droid only movie where we don't get subtitles and a bunch of the droids only beep. And like do it like a detective noir thing or something, and like droids are disappearing or like getting murdered or whatever, and there's like a very sassy R3 unit or something who's on the case, and we never know what it is that he's saying, but like we get everybody else's interactions around it, and the only care and to the all the droids who are like engaged in the story, they treat meat bags the same way that they treat droids, where they're like a secondary, like, yeah, whatever meat bag, like, all right, like moving on, like HK-47, tell me what happened or whatever, like that'd be great.
I would watch the heck out of that.
I would like having seen like the droid specific episodes from Rebels and Resistance. Like I would love just like a 2-hour chase scene after chase scene, Star Wars formula of just focusing on droids, because like we keep teetering around the issue of like, are droids people or are they not people? Because everybody who owns droids seems to treat them like people, but like no one who owns droids seems to treat them like people.
Hella problematic.
It's really weird, where everybody who has droids are like, oh man, they're like, they're just vibing and hanging out like people where they never erase their memory, and everybody seems to be aware that droids develop personality over time if you don't erase their memory, and yet no one seems to erase their memory, or they just program certain droids to be sassy or anxious by design, and I don't understand.
The latter is sick.
Yes.
I mean, there's still problems with it, but like, God.
It's like, what if let's make a protocol droid, but let's make him weird and a little bit annoying and very uncomfortable with pretty much everything.
What's up, Taryn? Doug said, I'm going to talk smack about Star Wars. Well, Well, I don't see you. Where'd you go?
Wait, where? What form of doodly dop is he in?
I think he's on YouTube.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay, cool. Yo, what's up, Doug? Good to see you, my man.
Terran's on Twitch. Have either of you seen the most recent episode of Mandalorian with the la 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 la?
Yes, I have. I would like
I mean,
more.
I've seen the photo. I know what happens.
But you don't. You just know that there's a bar that has droids in it. It's not the same thing.
No, I know that certain people show up.
Yeah,
the
droids.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, the droids.
DeLorean.
Yeah, the droids.
Oh,
but
man.
but yeah, I would like more of that. I like seeing the droids get to socialize amongst themselves, and it's one of those things. It's kind of like a Toy Story-esque thing of like, what do what do the toys do when Andy's not in the room? Like, what do the droids do when there's no people around, or humans or humanoids around?
Yeah.
I imagine they talk smack constantly. And it's like, yo, can you believe this meatbag? He only knows 2 languages. That's crazy. You know how many languages I know? It's like 15,000.
Even if they're like, we don't feel like doing this as a theatrical release, you got Disney Plus.
It's true.
So you can't be like, we don't have an avenue to release that. That actually might be a perfect Disney Plus movie. Be like an hour and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like,
or even if they did it old Clone Wars style, 5 minutes a pop, I'd be down for that.
Oh man. Oh gosh. They're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I was like, the OG Clone Wars. That's what we're talking about. You mean like, you mean the CGI animated? It's like, no.
The hand-drawn Johnsky, or pseudo hand-drawn.
Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack animation style, Powerpuff Girls, Clone Wars. That's what we talking about.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm really excited for all of the new stuff. I mean, I'm always excited for more Star Wars stuff. I like seeing, like I regardless of who is making Star Wars content, whether it's fan fiction or it's fan films or is video games or is movies, like, it's a fun world. And like, I don't care who's producing the content. Like, I can have fun like reading, fan-made webcomics online because they have a cool idea of like, oh man, what if there was a droid who, for like, what if there was a Jedi who had the surgery that not Duke, but Grievous had, and was like a robot Jedi or whatever? Like, that'd be cool. Like, like, I don't care who's making the stuff. I just want more Star Wars content because it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's a little bit fun to complain about, but it's just fun to consume.
For us, it's a little bit fun to complain about. For other folks, it's their whole existence.
It's a lot of bit fun. I mean, I understand complaining is like one of my primary exports. It's like my 3rd favorite hobby. It's like, hey, pick a random thing. Like, yo, complain about your headphones. Oh man, like, don't even get me started. These things, the audio quality's too good. I'm always like, man, I can hear everything. Sometimes they squeeze my head a little bit too hard.
Too tight.
You can complain about everything, and it's always a good time. So
Taryn says, has Disney Plus done any Star Wars exclusive movies or just series so far? Just series, like
just series.
Visions, and then like the TV shows. But I think a good corollary is, what's the werewolf movie on for Marvel? Something by Night. Oh dang!
Werewolf
Michael Giacchino got to create it, and I'm blanking.
Werewolves in London?
No. He picked some of the like supernatural characters in the Marvel universe and kind of creates this little movie around it. And I'm blanking. It was really solid.
I do not think I've seen this.
Oh, get on.
Werewolf by Night, says Taryn.
All right, so yeah, okay, I had it right. I doubted myself. But that's like one that's like, all right, I can understand like a theatrical release.
Maybe
not be solid for that.
Straight to DVD or VHS.
Right. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Again, not really something to release in theaters, but I think that works really well on the
Aladdin
platform.
3, straight to VHS. adequate film. Do I remember what it was about? Not at all. Did I enjoy it? Maybe.
I was like, give us an answer.
I think Aladdin 3 is the one where he finds his dad.
Yes. King of Thieves.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
it.
fun fact. Who is the voice of the genie in Return of Jafar?
Is that the fourth one or the third or the second
What's
one?
the second one?
I have no idea. I don't think I saw Return of
It's
Jafar.
one of the Simpson voice actors. I think Dan Castanella. I could be messing it up. But as a kid, I didn't like. You didn't have IMDb.
Yeah.
So I couldn't like check. But I knew when I heard King of Thieves. I'm sorry, when I saw King of Thieves, I'm like, Robin Williams is back. And then like you hear like if you had the tape, they had like a little intro showing him back to do it. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah. Thank you, Taryn. Woo! Dan Castanella.
Yeah, it's Dan Castell and it.
I'm probably screwing that up. I apologize, Dan. I've had decades to get your name right, so there's literally no.
Oh, okay, it's Homer. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yo, he's in Space Jam. He's a male fan in Space Jam.
He's in there. Real face. Oh man, it's like seeing Hank Azaria in like real life. You're like, oh man.
Oh snap! Yo, he was also the grandpa from Hey Arnold. I did not know
that. You're just kind of going down memory lane on this.
Pretty much.
The thing that makes me a little sad. I'm not really I don't have no idea what movie Kevin Feige was gonna make. So like there's nothing for me to really get sad on that. But
well, don't sell yourself short. Your capacity for sadness is boundless.
But I am bummed that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. We already knew last year. Like it seemed like it got canceled. It wasn't going to happen. And then we didn't see it like maybe get picked back up in this round of movies. I just, as an avid Rogue Squadron, like, so we were talking about Metroid Prime. And if I'm going to give you a throwback that's not Metroid Prime for this week, it'd be Rogue Squadron 2 on the GameCube.
On the GameCube, yep.
Because that game is solid. It is like they
nailed it. They nailed it. It was a good game.
They really did. Like the trench run, because that was the demo. They're like, we're gonna show you all the power out of this GameCube that we can. We're squeezing every morsel of graphical power out of this GameCube that we can. And young me was like, let's go. I'm plopping $49.99 on this right now. Let's go.
It's like, this is several weeks worth of taking out the trash and selling candy on the school bus. Let's go.
Oh man, gosh. Sorry. So I said that because I love Rogue Squadron. I love hearing the stories of the rebels and the other fights that happened during the rebellion period. There's been some great books on that time period as well, just following Rogue Squadron. So, I would love for Patty Jenkins to come back and do that. A series? I mean, y'all are greenlighting series left and right. So come on, Kathleen. If it's not going to be a movie anymore, like, you got Andor right there. It'd be a natural pickup from Andor and just
slide to the left.
So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it's going to end up happening, but there's just a part of me that, man, when that was announced, I was stoked. I was happy. And we got the trailer, we got the teaser of Patty Jenkins like throwing on the flight suit. And I was like, yes! X-Wings! Oh, let's go!
I was thinking about it because you said it. I think one reason that they might not like just greenlight every Star Wars thing under the sun is because I guess like I'll call it genre fatigue. is like a real thing. Like people talk about like the Marvel stuff of like Disney's like producing like tons more Marvel stuff and people getting tired or whatever. It's not so much that like they're getting tired of consuming. Well, I guess it kind of is, but like it's tired of consuming. But it's like I saw a graph a while ago that the what is that called? The game theorists had put together, and on one of their videos, and it was like if you look at the amount of content, like hours of content released per year for Marvel films, it's like you get like a 3-hour movie here, like this year, or you get 2 3-hour movies or 2 2-hour movies in one year, and that's it. And a couple years later, you get another 2, and like maybe this year there's another like this movie comes out, and it's like over the pandemic because of the pandemic, you had to kind of shift and like push everything into overdrive. So it was like the amount of content hours like spikes up like 4 or 5 times for like the past, I think, like 3 to 4 years. So it went from like having 2 to 5 hours of content per year, like 2 films or maybe 1 film, to like 15 hours of content because you have TV shows and you have movies, to like 20 something hours of content per year. And like when you have multiple interests and there's other good TV shows out there like Ted Lasso, like, and you gotta take care of your family and go to work or whatever, there's only a finite amount of time to watch television, and like sometimes you want to go outside and touch grass. So I understand like there is such a thing as fatigue, not because you don't want to watch it, but just because like it's like getting a regular TV recommendation. Like there's so much good television like in the modern day, like getting a recommendation for a good show doesn't matter to me at all, because I'm like, there's tons of good shows that I haven't watched yet, so like add it to the pile. And it's like cue the SpongeBob meme of all the dirty diapers outside of the house, and it's like there's like so much good stuff that like you can't watch it all.
You can't.
And it's like in order to like maintain interest, like Taryn said
I can barely watch enough just for reviews that I gotta do. Like,
yep. And I'm like, for me, that was one of the things, like we were talking about it earlier. I recently saw the D&D movie. Fantastic film. I won't say anything about it. Well, that's a spoiler. But it was for somebody like me who limits like how much like TV watching time or show watching time. Like I watch a lot of YouTube like journalist like type stuff and documentaries and meme shit or whatever. But for me, it tries to limit like watching like shows proper. I'm like, I walked out of the D&D movie and I was like, I'm ready to go back in again. Like I'm down to watch it twice. It's a 2-hour and some change movie, and it felt like an hour. And I'm like, me and my mom walked out, and I'm like, I'd watch that again. Like I'm about to call up the homies, and I'm like, yo, you see the D&D movie? Like I'm down to see this again. It was the last thing I can remember where I was down to watch it twice was when the Broly movie came out. I saw the Dragon Ball Broly movie. I was like, yo, this like run that back, turn that back on, turn that back, put that back on, run that part back again. Oh man. But Taryn said, you mean because of the pandemic impacting production, it became concentrated instead of spaced out? Yeah, pretty much. Like that was one of the points that they made. He had the what is it? The game theorists had their own conjecture about Ant-Man and why the movie went the way that it did, and he made some conjectures about like it seemed like the script had some changes to it based off of like things that were said and attitudes the characters had, and I think it was feasible. It kind of held water.
I think there's a simpler explanation, is that you had the pandemic schedule, which had a compaction, a bunch of streaming services launching at the same time. So they were desperate for content. And then they were making projections based on, look how much people are watching right now. And it's shocking how none of them were pumping the brakes to be like, this is not going to last forever. At some point, people are like, to your point, touching grass, throw a frisbee, like go down. Like this is not sustainable. So it was a double whammy. The pandemic compacted everything, so they had a bunch of content sitting around that they were gonna put this like, well, we gotta put this like as much as I get.
It puts pressure on the company and the production schedule like as well. So
like the schedule's even evened out. I'm going to use that loosely. But now you just got everyone producing to try to win over whatever little scrap they can, and some things are going to get cannibalized. Like Black Panther 2 probably would have made $1 billion, but it came out in November, a month before Avatar 2 came out. So it ended up making almost 900 million. So hey, that's nothing. That's nothing
to sneeze
at.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things of, if Marvel's looking at that like, oh darn, Black Panther dude didn't make $1 billion. I'm like, you own Avatar also, so you picked and choose. That was on you.
Now, I'll say this as somebody who didn't see Avatar, but I'm surprised I'm surprised they got $45. Because it's like nothing about Avatar appeals to me. It's like it's remarkably, it's one of the highest grossing films of all time. But like, if you ask anybody, any person, they like, no one has strong feelings about it.
Okay, so I think some people do, but it's like Mission Impossible. And the reason I say this,
like, as the movie, or like as a concept,
the movie,
okay,
like especially the last ones that Tom Cruise has been in, and you're like, well, he's been in all of them. Yes, but there was if there's an epitome of 90s action movies, Mission Impossible was definitely on that list as far as the perfect combination of stuff. And those movies have only refined and gotten that tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
Like James Bond.
The same thing. If I were to ask you, what's going on in Ethan Hunt's world? You'd be like, They're getting ready to come out with the finale of this whole thing and do a part 1 and a part 2. I couldn't tell you what happened in the last one. I know there was a betrayal and a double cross. It's like
but I don't feel like Avatar fits into that same bucket though, because like,
right. But what I'm trying to say is like, there's a similarity in that one, but I think the reason it doesn't get as much because people have much stronger feelings about Tom Cruise. So he's the reason that I think a lot of people, even if people do like it, there's such a strong reaction to him that there's just like, So for a lot of people, that's why it's not going to make $1 billion. Even his next one, I don't think will ever touch $1 billion because just like, Whereas like Fast and the Furious has a stronger, you could pick out some things, it's memeable. You're like, oh, family and stuff, and people really have a fun enjoyment with that. And then regardless of how you feel about those movies, like, but they're a fun ride. And there's something you could just
pun intended, fun ride.
Yeah,
it's basically vehicular D&D. Which is why Vin Diesel enjoys it so much.
But Avatar is just it's that packaging with a very just blah.
I don't know. For me, I was surprised. Like I based off of like all of like, I have my meme. I'm in a certain pocket of memery where it's fun to pick on stuff. But at least within my corners of the internet, I was surprised because I was like, oh, like nobody cares about Avatar. It's like one of those highest grossing film movies of all time, in part due to the 3D little razzle dazzle. Yeah. But I'm like, every time I talk about it, people are like, this was all right. Like we all talk about the memes, and maybe part of it is people paid to see one of the most highest grossing movies of all time again, simply because they had nothing else to do, and they were like, "Y'all already did the thing. Like, what else is there to do?" And it's like, "Well, let's go find out." I mean, I will say that the world he created was really interesting. You just get to see almost like based off of how much he wrote, basis what you get to see, like you get to see like this much, and like what he wrote is like this much.
Yeah,
like there's like botany books for like the plants that exist on the world of planet
Pandora
X, whatever. Yeah,
and they made a whole new music and didn't end up using it.
And they didn't use it. Jeez.
God, don't get me started on that.
That tilts me off the face of the earth. But yeah, something.
There's a Jim Gaffigan joke about McDonald's where he's like, when everyone's like, I would never eat at McDonald's. He was like, I don't know. Their sign says billions of burgers sold. So either someone must be lying.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what Avatar is. It's just like,
Yeah, maybe.
I didn't watch it. It's like, yeah, you did.
It's like, oh, well, this receipt right here, it says that you saw it 3 times.
So your children have like Pandora tickets to the theme rides. You've got Pandora pajamas. Is that one of the mech suits as a figurine on your shelf? Like, shut up.
What? Nah, that's from Mega Man. I was talking about. Oh man.
Oh. All right.
But all that to say, Star Wars is pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I give up Star Wars. You got me. I can't hate you, Star Wars. I can't.
They've been balling out of control, man. I mean, like I mean, people have their own criticisms and feelings and stuff, and I'm like, Rogue. What's it called?
Rogue One.
Not Rogue One. The Andor. Andor was cool and fun, and I'm like, Bad Batch slaps. I love the artwork in Bad Batch. It looks so good, so good.
It is good.
Mandalorian is fun. People have their own opinions about Boba Fett. I love Boba Fett. I'm like, Boba Fett. People are like, oh, but Mandalorian's everything that Boba Fett was supposed to be. But yeah, we had to. It's like when there was only one set of footprints on the beach, Mandalorian was carrying us to the path of Boba Fett. He wouldn't have a Boba Fett show without Mandalorian. And then it's like, if Mandalorian exists, it's like, then yeah, just assume that Boba Fett is Mando, and then just close your eyes and pretend it is different. Pretend his outfit is dirtier. It's the same. It's the same thing. You don't care about who the Mandalorian is. You just want him to be a Mandalorian with a jetpack and a flamethrower. It doesn't matter. Pretend it's Canderous Andor or whatever his name is from the Old Republic or whatever.
I just don't want him to fall back into the culvert, but that's a whole nother conversation. Oh man.
But I'm just like, it's like more Star Wars content is more Star Wars content, and it's like there's comic books. If you don't like that comic book, then don't read that comic book. It's fine.
You know, the other MCU. So I'm gonna switch back MCU real quick. Close out.
Yep.
Is we see these ebbs and flows in the comics all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Writers come and go. You have a run that's really solid. And then you have another run that's just kind of like,
yeah, we all skip Infinite Crisis. We know it's bad. You go to the comic book store and you ask for recommendations, and they're like, all right, you want to read this? You can skip over that. You want to read this? It's like, I'm going to tell you, when you get here, I'll tell you what happens in this story. You don't need to read it. Then we go to this one. It's like, we all got recommendations.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I think moviegoers aren't used to that, but you think they would be because they've already had it happen. Yeah. I think the MCU maybe the problem is it's kind of tricked people. I'm not saying they're actively trying to trick people. That's not what I mean. But maybe it's
I know what you mean.
People into like, oh, but comic book movies are always going to be great. It's like, no, y'all don't remember it took us a bit to get.
We made Thor 2.
I'm talking about rewind back to like Superman. And like Batman, Danny.
Oh yeah.
And like Tim. Like we had to go through that, and you could think of that as a run.
Yep.
Like that was a run. There's technically Superman serials and Batman movies before that, so that could be considered a run, right? And then you get your Nolan run, right? And you get your Spider-Man run with I was about to say Holland, McGuire.
Yes.
You can consider that like, yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, reboot now it's all connected. It's like, okay. But you could consider that just like you have your 80s crash, you get another 90s resurgence in comic books and stuff. 2000s get weird, or then you get like your Ultimate series in Marvel, like Ultimate Avengers,
and folks who read comic books, like we know, like you can't read everything. Like sometimes you miss stuff. It's really hard to be a comic book reader without taking breaks. especially if you reading stuff week to week, like episodes come out week to week. And it's like sometimes like you miss a week because like, oh, you got real busy. And it's like then you go to the comic book store, you have twice as much to read. And it's like the thing of unlimited minutes back in the 90s. And it's like, oh, you didn't use the minutes from before, and since you didn't have time to use them, like we'll just give them to you now. And it's like, but I didn't have time to read the comic books from last week. Like I'm not gonna have time to read the ones I got for this week.
Like, here's these minutes.
And it's okay to fall behind on some stuff. Like I haven't watched Marvel, Miss Marvel yet. I've watched like the first couple episodes, but I'm like, I gotta do other stuff. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm fine with seeing a movie and having somebody show up that I should know some stuff about, but I don't, because that's how comic books are. I can't read every spin-off series. I can't read every book. It's like sometimes you just gonna not know who somebody is, and that's okay. But don't ask about it in the middle of the movie.
There you go. Which my mother does.
See, my mom knows. Like I'll just tell her, and I'm like, oh, yo, that's the person from the thing or whatever. Like that's his apprentice or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. It's the other person who shoots arrows related to the guy who shoots arrows, and it's like, yeah, basically, yeah, that's his cousin. He's
God, that
doing
was a Hawkeye series. Oh my gosh, I can't keep track.
Mm-hmm. It's too many comics, man.
It's too many. That's okay. So I'm also like live processing an article that's in my head that I'm like trying to write out. If you're like, what is he doing? And it's like, really, that's what I've been using everyone for tonight. I gotta
mental processing.
All right. That is the show. And I gave my throwback. If you have one, I said Rogue Squadron 2 on GameCube.
I haven't said the words Jack and Daxter all stream. No, I'm kidding.
As long as we got it in.
Yeah, it's in there. There was one I was thinking of. What is it called? Goof Troop. Back on the Super Nintendo. Me and my mom used to play that one all the time. It's a really fun co-op game. There's some cool little puzzles in it. It has like functionally nothing to do with the Goofy universe within Disney, except for the presence of Goofy and Max. But it's a very fun like arcade style. It's not really arcade style, so it's a different kind of thing. But it's a very fun Super NES game. It's pretty good.
I remember core memory unlocked. I remember the Goof Troop toys at Burger King.
Oh wow!
And there's like some kind of wind up Max motorcycle with Goofy on the.
Right.
I think maybe Goofy was in the sidecar and Max was driving the motorcycle because just hijinks because that makes sense.
It's like, oh yeah, it would just be a regular toy if Goofy's driving, but like if Max is driving,
chaos. Terrence says Rogers the Musical is coming to Disney California. Get out.
Rogers
Get out.
the
Broadway musical? Or nothing. From the Hawkeye.
From what?
From Hawkeye.
Oh yeah. Oh yo, that's awesome. That's fresh. Art imitates life, and life imitates art. Let's go. Or art imitates art. I guess. Yeah, I guess that's actually just art imitating art. Never mind. But that's still cool.
You came up a different way around to that. And also that's a poignant statement.
You said that really weird.
Works with
but I know exactly what you mean.
We got a reference in there.
Oh man.
All right. Yeah. Look for our clips up on the TikToks and on the other social medias. Because if you're like, I'm not sitting for this entire episode, don't worry. We cut this down for you. So
we'll find out all the news and we'll only leave the memes.
Yeah, we'll get some Happy Souls. God, how many times have we referenced Happy Souls? I guess we need to go back for a look.
I showed it to somebody like literally like on Saturday or Sunday or whatever it was who hadn't seen it before, and they were like, "Yo, this is perfect." All right, very funny. Now move over. That is not enough space.
Cool. We'll see you all later. Taryn, what'd you say? Memes only as God intended. As Godzilla intended.
Well, I'm gonna do an edit of this show and I'll call it "Oops, All Memes." It's no news, only jokes. Or I'll put a, oh man, that sounds like a great name for like like a stand-up comedy thing, like only jokes, but it's in the font of OnlyFans. That'd be hilarious.
Oops, all memes. Yeah, I love it. God, no, that's genius. I like that.
Oops, all memes.
That's what I'm gonna tag all the clips in. That's how I'm gonna tag them. All right.
Oh man. Alrighty, thanks y'all.
Thank y'all for joining us. See y'all next time. We've got goofing off. It was good.
Always, it's our primary